Sam.
Oh, Lord. I
Oh, I can't spare mine.
can't share with you.
Does anybody have an extra pen?
Oh, thanks, Lisa. Ready?
All right, great. Let's get started. Let's commence our the Board of Trustees meeting of November 8th. That's happening in public. We can get started with roll call, please.
Member Inch?
Here.
Member Langner? Member Ball?
Here.
Member Solis?
Here.
Vice President Cruz?
Here. Great, thank you. And now please stand, sit, or kneel for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the video, the voice of the Lord can hear. Oh, my God.
Great. Now it's time for public comment for anything that is not on the agenda today. Would anybody like or have a comment? Any public comment? Nope. Great. Then we will move on to reports, and we'll start off with the ETA report.
Good evening. Mark Davis. The good news is I don't have a lot of news, but I do want to take a moment, and having seen some things out there that were kind of negative press about particularly of interest, has to do with the relationship of our students with our staff. And I want to take a special moment and thank Jessica Good, because she has been largely responsible for a very positive atmosphere within our school and the teachers. We have 2 new principals at the elementary school, equally trying to mold a positive atmosphere. It struck me that I can walk down a hallway during a prep period and get shout-outs from kids in other classrooms. And it's not unique to me. It is a very good relationship between students and staff, regardless of what some may write or come up with things based on their own data or what have you. Walking down the halls is probably the greatest evidence of where we are. We weren't always there, but what matters is we're there right now. So to Ms. Good, I take my hat off. She has worked hard, and she deserves credit for being a really, really strong leader. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Then is there a CSEA representative for a report? No, then we'll move on to student representatives report.
Okay, so the high school just had their homecoming dance last week, and now we're planning a winter formal. There's also fundraisers going on with the juniors and seniors. We had our SRA college workshop to help the seniors with their college applications, and that helped a lot of students where they got like one-on-one time with the SRA advisors to edit papers and stuff. With sports, cross country just had they went to a championship yesterday. Girls volleyball and boys soccer, they went to playoffs, so that's really cool. And also there will be a boys volleyball team for the first time, so yeah.
Great, thank you for that. Then we'll move on to, if there are no principals reports, and move on to the superintendent's report.
Thank you very much. And just if you don't mind, if we can go a little bit out of order, the principals are running a couple minutes behind. I don't know if we'll have the opportunity, if you don't mind, but I just got a message from them. Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to let you know what we've been working on lately, and we certainly are ramping up to get ready for enrollment in the enrollment process. We're doing that earlier this year. We're finishing up some advertising for the city activity guide, thank you, also regarding enrollment and letting people know about our programs at our school and making sure they have a website link to go to. So we've been working on those items. The other item I want to address, I don't know if anyone saw the article in the San Francisco Chronicle about a week and a half ago or so, but they found some lead in the water at a couple Oakland Unified schools. One of those school sites was the Santa Fe Elementary site that the school district used to use, and there was a kitchen faucet with a high level of lead. We don't know how long that's been at a high level, but we are doing our due diligence to notify all the students who attended during the 4 years when we occupied the building by mail and email for whatever we have in terms of contact information. So those letters go out tomorrow morning. We're notifying all the current high school staff members, and we're also going to be notifying the former employees who work there. We want to just make sure parents are aware and students are aware and the former staff are aware that if you believe you had any exposure to the water over a long period of time, that you may want to ask your doctor to have your blood tested for lead, just so that everybody is aware of it. We did have, I'll just share without revealing the employee's name, but we had an employee who worked in the kitchen that for other medical reasons had her blood tested recently and just was kind enough to let us know she had no blood. She had no lead in her blood. So I just wanted to update the board on that. You'll get a copy of that letter this evening in your email. That is my report for tonight. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Given that the president's not here, there's no board president report. So we'll move on to the consent calendar. Would anybody like to pull any items? Seeing none, do you have a motion?
I will make a motion to approve consent agenda items 1 through 4.
Great, I'll second. Roll call, please.
Member Inch?
Yes.
Member Langner?
Yes.
Vice President Vargas?
Yes.
Member Blau?
Yes.
Member Souls?
Yes.
Great, and motion carries unanimously. Then we'll move on to number 6, discussion items. 6.1, Wellness Department presentation.
Good evening, everyone. We have Ms. Juliet Dunn here tonight to give us some more information regarding the Wellness Department and everything they've got going on and their priorities for the year. Ms. Dunn, thanks for being with us tonight for that. And then parents who are visiting, just so you know, if you're not familiar with the board meetings, there'll be a moment where the public can speak on any item that's on the agenda as well if you have any comments.
Do you have Kevin's number?
Yeah, I can text them.
Would you tell him to come down,
Yeah.
please? Or ask him to come down?
Yeah.
Don't tell people. We're having tech talk now. Yes, my name is Juliet Dunn, and I'm the Wellness Director for Emory Unified School District. The reason I wanted to give a report today was that we usually do once a year go over a lot of information and inform the board and inform our constituency about what wellness is doing, because we're an integral part of not only the city now that we're ECCL, but also definitely a part of the school district. And one of the things I wanted to do was to, because we haven't been doing it because we were at Santa Fe and we were moving and the building was being built, we haven't done a real comprehensive look at what we've been doing. So I thought this would be a time to not only acquaint the board, and thank you very much for letting us do this, because I know it's something that you looked at this report and you thought, oh my God, she's going to go through all 44 pages. No, we're not. But I like to look on your face when I said that.
Oh, we did, though. We did our best.
But we want to give some salient information, and we want to give some contextual and content information. And I wanted to introduce two people who are going to be giving some information on our health center, and Kevin W. Edwards, who is going to come in and work on the behavior piece for us so that you'll understand how we're doing what we're doing and why we're doing it. So this is our Wellness Board report. And I'd like to ask, well, it's kind of small, so it may not, and we're moving faster than we thought we would, but what I'd like to do is hold questions if we possibly could, unless they're very, very salient, until the end so that we can get through a lot of information and make sure that you understand and people have a chance to really talk to folks afterward. Okay, so the Emory Unified School District Board report. Our agenda is basically we're going to go through the vision and history, the wellness program. How do we align with the school and education and all the things that we're talking about? Funding is kind of a misnomer. It's kind of one of those things that we're looking at. I wanted to give you some idea on how we operate and what we operate on, and the future of wellness. In terms of our vision and history, wellness has been around since 2004. I remember distinctly the National School Lunch Program said, you have to have a wellness program. And they sent this information to me. And Tony Smith, at the time, who was the superintendent, walked in and said, Juliet, your wellness director. And I went, what? From that point on, engaging community, engaging teachers, engaging students, we crafted wellness to be more than just something on nutrition or something about health. We actually crafted it to be the program that it is now, and it took us 12 years to get here. But it's something that we wanted to do, and really, I think because of what we've done and because we've engaged all of those people, we wanted to make sure that we had those services. So our mission statement, it's pretty basic. It says to foster the physical, behavioral, and social health of students, staff, and families. We had a visioning meeting in the wellness team, which is myself, Kevin W. Edwards, and Lauren LaPlante, in June of last year. And we said, we have to really have our mission statement out there, and it has to correlate with what's going on with the board statement as well as the school statement. And this was something we came up with because we do want to foster the physical, behavioral, and social health of students. That's our job. That's what we're supposed to be doing. We want to make sure that we take whatever resources we have, whatever plans we have, and we get kids whole so that they can come to school and feel good about what they're doing and learn, which is their job here. And then we also want to look at teachers, and we want to see what's happening there. How can we make their jobs easier? What kind of resources we can bring to bear so that they come to school and do their job, which is teaching. And so when kids are taught and they learn and teachers can function in a way that's good for them, we will have wellness on the campus, and that's what we're looking at, the entire campus. Our vision statement, we want to make the school and community safe, supportive with students who are healthy and successful in school and in life. One of the things that pointed this out to me in abject detail, I must say, is when we brought on the school-based health center last year and we had dentistry, there were 2 students who'd never seen a dentist, and they'd missed more days of school than I can count. And their teacher was frantic. So she came up and she talked to the school-based health center and said, what do we do? We can't get mom to take them to the dentist. We can't do this. So we worked on mom. We worked to let them know that it was free, that we had a dentist. They got their teeth fixed. They haven't missed a day since. That's what wellness means. That's what it means to have that surround sound effect of care, of comprehensive care. The teacher knew we could do something. We did it. We got them to mom. We had them come up and help, and that's what it looks like to us, which is actually our next slide. What does our vision look like? Students having access to everything that we can find. When I first started working as the wellness director, we had nothing. We had a building, a small little building. We had $10,000 and no one but me. We had to find the social worker. We had to find access to nursing. We had to find resources, all of those things. Now they're coming to us over and over again, but we have places for them to be. We have a beautiful new center, and we have lots of work that we can do around it, but we still need to connect folks to all of that. So that's what we're doing in terms of reaching out and letting you know who we are and what we're doing. And again, as I said, students succeeding academically, having their physical, emotional, and social needs met are what we're looking at. That's what we want to do. That's how we feel that we benefit everything that's in this particular campus. How do we do that? Well, our wellness model is based upon the CDC, which is the Coordinated School Health Plan for the Center of Disease Control. When we first started doing this and planning this, it was an 8-component plan. Now it's a 10-component plan. It's been updated. And we decided that we can't do all of them, so we had to focus. We had to focus on ones that we already had and we knew that would work out well for us. But that particular model is one where wellness does look at students. They do look at staff. We have health services, environmental services, physical and education. The two that they've added in this year are physical environment and social emotional climate. All of the things that we've been concentrating on, we didn't know it, but we were doing that. So this is one of the wellness models based upon data that we thought we could really work with and expand and grow with. So we're going to be looking at all of those components. The wellness program this year is going to be looking at behavioral health, social emotional, the social emotional school climate, and I noticed that emotional has an S, that then the school is over there. So it doesn't show you that we know enough about how we slant words, but we're working on it. And health services. Well, with our health services, they're going to be coming up and talking about the school-based health center, the fact that we are actively looking and have a bead on a nurse, thank you goodness, so that we can have that. Social emotional, Kevin will be looking at, as well as behavioral health. It's the kind of thing that we wanted to pick 3 different programs that we knew we could focus on and do a good job of and expand on. But we will be looking at all those other components too. Wellness history, a timeline. I put this in here just so that you could see how far we've come from 2004 to 2017-18. And I'm going to put all this down here because I'm trying to read and do this all at the same time.
And Ms. Dunn, since Mr. Edwards is here, would you like him to join you up front?
He will. I'm going to
okay.
bring him into the conversation in just a few minutes. And that's Kevin W. Edwards, by the way, our behavioral health manager. We started in 2004 and 5. Some of the highlights that I think that we've had a school psychologist intern program start up in 8 and 9. And we have a full-time nurse in 2009 and 10. The Breath Mobile came on 2010-11. That's when we had a mobile asthma van. 11-12, Coordinated School Health Plan from the Center of Disease Control was expanded. Peer Health Exchange, which is health services from UC Berkeley, which is in its 6th year here teaching health education, reproductive education, twice a year, 13 weeks each for the 9th grade. So that was a good program that we brought on. We had staff wellness in 11-12, 12-13, the Family Resource Center from an earmark from Barbara Lee. 13-14, EPSDT contract this is from Alameda County, something that we can bring in more mental health services and resources. Let's see, the EpiPen 13-14, we had, we actually contracted with DPREP to write a safety program at the end of 14. MOU signed with Lifelong Medical, that's the first time that we worked with them. And they've turned out to be our medical lead for the health center. 15, 16, and I'm going through these very quickly because they're part of our program, and if you need it, I can get you a copy of it. But I think these are some of the things that I thought were important. We did a lot of training. We did EpiPen training, AED training. We got AEDs. We didn't have those before, which is the defibrillators. 16, 17, we opened up the school-based health center. I think that's the most significant part of this particular program. including all the behavioral health, because that is our center. We work around it now. It's our anchor. We have a lot of work that students, and they'll tell you about how students have seen those programs. The visioning goals that we had for that. And then I wanted to just concentrate a little bit on 17-18, and then I'm going to let Kevin come up here and talk. We're going to skip a few slides because I think you get the point. You understand where we're trying to go, what we're trying to do, and how we're trying to do it. This year, because we have a school-based health center, because we're going to have a nurse, a gentleman came to me and said, you know, we're from the Vision Learning Foundation, and I want to provide free glasses to students who need it. We're going to do it. You're going to give us recommendations from when you do vision testing. Over the years, because a lot of our students, if they're on Medi-Cal, if they don't re-up at a certain time, they don't get their glasses. They get one glass a year. If they break it, they get one glass a year. This way, they'll be able to get another set of glasses for free and a vision test. They come, they do the vision test, they go back. Those are the kinds of things that are direct interventions for things that we know we need. And I appreciate the fact that we can do that. We have a new site manager, Tanji came, and you're going to see her. We put in a suicide prevention intervention. Kevin is going to talk about that. We put in an allergy policy that we had. The thing that I want to say is, you know, people kept saying, are you going to reach out to the community? Yes, we are. We had 2 flu clinics. We had the child care center down the street inquire about getting flu shots from us. I didn't get one from here, but a lot of my staff did for free. Alameda County came in. We had 2 flu clinics out there, and we're going to open up the clinics so that we can have people make appointments to do that. We drafted a crisis response manual. So those are the kinds of things that we were looking at that we want to do in 17-18, amongst others. It's an ongoing, growing process. So we are integrated. We are wellness, we are academic, we are community. And we're trying our best to make sure that we look at how our students come to school, how our teachers come to school, how our parents react, and give them what they need in order to move forward. Before I say anything else, I want to acknowledge not only Kevin W. Edwards, our behavioral health manager, but Lauren LaPlante, who's a school psychologist. We, as a team, work together in a collaborative effort to do what we need to do. And at this point, I'm going to bring Kevin up, and I'm going to be quiet.
How's everybody doing this evening? Good. I'm glad to be here today, and I'm glad to see so many faces. Thank you so much. My task for today is to speak with you about our behavioral health program as a part of wellness, what it is and its function and its purpose, okay? Our children live in a complex world. Our families face increasing stress that our students feel and experience. At times, the stress leaves our students worried and unable to attend to school. Our purpose in behavioral health and in wellness is to create an integrative program to where students not only have a sense of safety, but they have a sense of psychological safety in the classroom, and they have a sense of physical safety, and they know that they're in an environment where they're well cared for and they learn. Behavioral health isn't here just to do counseling for the sake of doing counseling. Our job is to really address the stresses and the impediments to learning so that students can learn. We are nothing if we are not collaborating with our principals and with our teachers, with our coaches, with our campus supervisors, with a whole host of folks, with the board and with all of our staff, to make sure that we are looking at a 360 perspective with our students, because they need that. And so we're very gratified that we are developing and enriching our collaboration, and there's more to be done. We're focusing on our psychological enrichment and also behavioral. I want to take a few minutes just to talk about some of our accomplishments that have happened in the last couple years. A behavioral health manager was hired. There was an alignment with the county with a school-based health model, and we continue to align and collaborate with the county for their support. We have benefited from a closer relationship with Anna Yates. We have started a behavioral meeting where we're taking a look at our most students that have most needs, and we're meeting once a week to do some planning around their support. And so we're very gratified that we're able to do that. That's attended by principals, counselors, and our campus supervisors that are working with those students. And we're really looking at how do we support these students to make sure that they learn, and so that the problems that they have this year do not extend into next year. And so that we really want to make sure that we create a basis so that 5 years from now, when Ms. Good is still here, she's not seeing the same problems that Ms. Smith and Ms. Carter saw with those students. We're really working hard to make sure that doesn't happen, okay? And so we have to look at it two ways. What are the behaviors that present impediments to learning? How can we teach them skills around that behavior? Just in the same way that if a student can't do math, well, we teach them math. And we make assessments, and then we reteach. Well, we do the same thing with behavior. We teach them the behavior that they need to know, and we reteach. And then we also do that psychological supporting that can hold that container for them, okay? We were able to get some counseling room supplies. When I came here, we just had no supplies in our counseling rooms, and we were able to do that this year, which is a big help in terms of creating tools for the interns that we manage. We lost our contract with A Better Way. However, they are still here providing services, even though they lost that Medi-Cal contract. They've maintained the students that they've had, and they're still seeing them. Their counselors come a couple times a week, a couple days a week. We have created an MOU with Ann Martin Center, and we've done some referrals to them already to expand our capability outside of the school, and we're very gratified for that. We have completed supervisor requirements, so I have linked with Crisis Support Services of the East Bay, and I've done their clinical supervisor kind of documentation that's needed to extend the type of services and the kind of access to services that we have in the community, along with that wellness piece. When we talk about academics, we talk about community and health and academics. That's a part of our goal and our plan. We have extended the pool of interns from schools that we can draw from. That included San Francisco State, Cal State East Bay. We've also, with San Francisco State, not only the School of Social Work, but the School of Counseling. And we're an approved field site for Cal State East Bay and also UC Berkeley. As many of you know, I presented the suicide prevention, intervention, and postvention policy. This year, we have done training to our high school staff and our middle and elementary school staff, and we've also done a training to our middle school kids around some of the warning signs and how they can reach out and get help so that they don't have to deal with it on their own, but they know how to get an adult. And we've also given them resources on how they can call. We've also trained our intern staff on how to do the intervention piece and are continuing to refine that process. We still have yet to do some of our 9th grade students. We're working on that. And we're very excited about the possibilities that we have in making sure that we're keeping our children safe. I've been reaching out to the PTA. Matter of fact, I spoke with Diane Mack yesterday. We have a parent component in a training. We were going to do it yesterday. She didn't feel that there would be enough parents, so we're going to do a concerted effort and outreach, and we have a date for the 2nd Tuesday in January to do that. So we're very excited about that. So we're attempting to really to reach out in all those areas. John, you had a question?
I did. It just sounds like, I just want to say thank you to Ms. Dunn and Ms. LaPlante and you. It sounds like you guys have a lot of great stuff that you've shared so far tonight. Is there anything, Ms. Dunn, that you and Mr. Edwards want to make sure you highlight for the board before you guys wrap up in terms of that you want to leave us with? Because I know you've shared a great list of some great accomplishments, but I don't know if there's anything. What's the most important thing, I guess I would ask, that you want the board to hear before you wrap your presentation?
Well, if I could answer that, I think that the most important thing is really for people to get an appreciation of the extent and the enormity of what it is that we're doing. I don't think that the board or maybe some folks in the audience really understand that. And so I think it's important for people to understand the accomplishments that have been made and the overall intent and the integration that we're trying to achieve with this program. I understand the intent that perhaps we need to move this along, but I also think that it's important for people to understand and the board to understand the accomplishments that we have made thus far, and not only the capacity that we have for more, but the, oh my goodness, you know, the older I get, I lose words, but the potential, thank you. Yes, there's a young person in the back that doesn't have nominal aphasia, so excellent. But anyway, just a few more things, if I may. We also completed a draft of a crisis response manual that I gave to Dr. Rubio. This really includes the provision of psychological first aid. We have a lot of extreme events that have happened through this world. I wanted to put forth a manual and a process by which if something happens here, we have a protocol and things in place so that we can meet the needs of our staff and our children and our families. But let me go on. These are some of the master level interns from the schools that we work with. You can see that we work with post-grad MFT associate interns, social work associates, folks that are getting their PPSC, and intern students through the social work schools. These are the agencies that we have relationships with. New Bridge Foundation has been here for years. They do our alcohol and drug training program. We have a full-time staff that is here. Sanju works with the middle school. Matter of fact, we had a crisis just yesterday that Sanju was very elemental with. She knew the student and was able to jump right in and make sure that I can't say enough about what New Bridge and what Sanju has done for our campus here. Crisis Support Services of Alameda County have provided 2 interns this year, 2 interns last year, and continue to support us for the amount of hours that they put in. We pay minimal, and we get a lot back. A Better Way and Ann Martin Center, as I mentioned already. Just real quick, these are just some of the interns that we have. We've got 12 folks coming in, providing support. We have a lot of students that are receiving counseling through their special ed. If we weren't able to do this, it would be a tremendous cost to the district. So not only are we preventing much needed services, but we're saving our school district. I think I heard a figure between $50,000 to $60,000 per student per year, and we've got maybe close to 30 students that are receiving counseling through special ed, so that's significant. PBIS. We are starting, again, our planning year. We have a brand new team. We're excited about that. One of the things that I'm so extremely happy about, that I'm keeping myself from jumping for joy because I have a torn meniscus in my knee and I can't do that, but Sam Carter and Eddie Shrug-Smith are very well indoctrinated with PBIS. They've drank the Kool-Aid. They come in, they've put stuff up. They have support the staff. And so I highlight this because it allows us then really not to start from 0, but we're starting from 5, and we're trying to hit the ground running for the benefit of a really positive school climate and doing some work on that. So I'm very excited about that. We have done Second Step in the past. It's a social emotional learning curriculum. We were able, through some funding, we lost the staff that was supporting that. We are looking to continue that so that we can create a safe environment for our students. And so we're going to pass on that to our health services, and that's behavioral health. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. I know we're taking a lot of time, but there are a couple of things I still believe you need to hear. I wanted to bring up the School-Based Health Center, which is under Lifelong, our lead, and this is Hannah Sherrill. She's the site manager for all the school-based health centers that Lifelong has. This is Tanji Kane, our new manager. I won't talk about the nurse simply because you can read that through. That's some of the things that they've been doing, that we've been doing, and we're going to continue to do. But I would like for you to hear what they're saying, because that is one of our biggest jewels in the Wellness Crown. So if we could take just a few minutes, and I beg your indulgence, and then we will move on and close out.
Hi, good evening. Thank you so much for your time. Tall. My name is Hannah Sherrill. I am the school-based manager for Lifelong Medical Care. This is Tangi Kane. She is the site supervisor, so she's responsible for daily operations here at the health center. And we're just going to go over a couple of the highlights the health center has been able to do this year. So just for your review, here are our hours. We are open Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 4. We do have specific days and times where we have providers available. Monday, Tuesday, and Thursdays, we do have a medical provider, and Mondays and Thursdays, we do have a dental provider. Oh, yes, sorry. Is that better? Well, all right. Here's a list of services that we offer to our students. It's very similar to your own doctor, and students can come here if they can't make it to their own primary care doctors and get a lot of the same services. So we do just want to go over a couple of highlights from the data that we did collect from the students via surveys. As you can see, we did survey the 6th through 12th graders. It's a little hard to survey the TK through 5th graders. But in this information, we found out that most of our students are coming from the high school, which is great. They're coming in, they're asking questions, they're getting medical services and dental services. And most of them are coming in more than once per year. So we have about 75% of the population who's coming for the 2nd, 3rd, and so on visits to the health center. When we look at all of our visits for the year, for the 2016-2017 school year, we see that a little over half is from the high school. Thank you. We appreciate seeing them. And then the other half is our Anna Yates population. And we do have a mostly female population coming into the health center. So the health center does provide medical, dental, and eventually we will provide behavioral health services. We're in the process of looking for an LCSW to bring on staff. But one of the highlights of last year is some of the classes that we were able to provide. So the students that we were able to get surveys from for a nutrition class, we asked questions like, is healthy eating important to you? And all of them did report that healthy eating was important to them. And one of the things that we also found alarming is when we asked them on average how much they exercise a day, a little over 40% said they do not exercise a day, which was very interesting, but that just lets us know that maybe we need to ask the students in a different way or really explore what is going on with their nutrition and their health and their physical activity to really align with the CDC's goals of like lowering obesity rates among the adolescent population. STI education also produced some interesting results. This was for our high schoolers, and the ones who did take the survey did report that a little over half were sexually active. It's happening. It's okay. We're here to support. Don't worry. And of the students who did answer if they were sexually active, how often they were using condoms, half said always, but the remainder results, it was questionable on the contraceptive use. So it is important for us to get in there and talk to the students, or have someone get in there and talk to the students, and we know we're not the only effort to address this, but we're definitely happy to step in and take our part in addressing it. And students seem very happy overall with the STI education classes, which we were very happy about. They actually learned some things which we were very proud of. So when we asked the students if they're satisfied with our services, we got really great results in saying they were satisfied. They came into the health center for medical appointments, for dental appointments, for sensitive services. All students are eligible to come in for first aid. If they do have a consent form on file, they can come in for extended medical or dental services, and if not, they are able to be seen for first aid. Some students just have questions, and they want to come in and ask us who we are and what we're doing there, and we're more than open to sharing with them. And then a good percentage of the students still didn't go to the health center or are not fully aware of what it means to have a health center on campus. So we're definitely in conversation with the principals about having consent forms returned to us. So a consent form is something we need from the student's parent or guardian at home, and it lets us provide extended services to the students. So yes, everyone can come in for first aid, but if they want to see the medical provider or the dentist to have a need met, then we need permission from their parents to treat them. And right now we're at about 27% across the entire campus. So we're working with the principals on how to get those numbers higher so we are able to see more students when needs do arise. and that is for this year. And just some more of the things that we've done this year with the health center that I did want to highlight. We're in the process of doing dental screenings with the campuses. So as of now, we've screened over 300 students from the Anna Yates campus, and we're working to continue to screen the rest of them. We did host the 2 flu clinics for the community. And we gave out nearly 60 vaccines for the community. It was a great success. It was the first time we did it. We still have people wanting more, so that just lets us know for next year to up our doses in order to support the community. We are going to be able to offer dental services to the adult population in the community on Mondays from 1 to 4 p.m. So we are going to work with Juliet and the wellness team on getting the word out about how we can offer dental services to the community in order to support the whole community, whole school goal. And last but not least, we also got in the AmeriCorps this year, which is really important. It's our first time having the AmeriCorps through the clinic, who can provide additional health education services throughout the campus. And that is it. Do you guys have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. She is tall. Okay. We only have a little bit more time, and I wanted to have Lauren just to talk to you about alignment, just a teeny bit, in terms of how we align with all of the different areas that we have to be in, and then we'll talk about, we'll answer questions, because in the last couple of slides it talks about funding and some other things. That's not really what we're here for. We're here to give you information. Everybody's always looking for money. We're always looking for ways of writing new grants. We're always looking for, if your uncles or aunts or people who got some change, we'll take that too. But I think the alignment in terms of all of our services is something that we should at least touch on, and then we'll answer any questions you might have.
So Juliet and I have been working to align wellness services for the last decade, and as new government, federal, state, and local requirements come, we kind of look at our programs and see where do we support. So as you can see by our chart, there's multiple areas where we are supporting all of the primary areas of the LCAP that overlap with wellness services. At the high school, we have the WASC plan, where wellness has been integrated into our WASC plans for many years. We just finished a full-day training for a peer mediation club with one of our wellness volunteers. And now we're going to be running our own conflict mediations that are student-led, and that's a school climate effort that aligns with WASC, school climate. There's been LEA plans that we've aligned with, and board priorities that have been shared with us over many years. So we're really trying to convey, as part of our whole child, whole school, whole community approach, that we are not a separate entity. We cannot always share all of the details of everything we do because of confidentiality, but we are aligned through our cost process, through PBIS, through all sorts of ways with the school and the community. So here is the areas where we align in terms of supporting student achievement, student engagement, school climate, parental involvement, and Common Core state standards. And now we'll talk about our future.
We're going to be here. We're going to expand what we're doing. I know that sounds kind of funny to say, but we're going to be here. We're going to expand. And not only are we going to expand, we're going to look at the needs of all of our community, our students, our staff, because we're all integrated in everything that we do. And once we look at those needs, we'll find supports for them. We'll continue to coordinate and develop programming for it. We'll continue to find the sustainable funding that we need, and through lots of different ways, because we're a pretty creative little group, and we had to be. But more importantly, we want to be, because we know that we do help students, families, teachers, staff to be the best that they can, because my whole goal is to make sure that every child who walks across that stage in the 12th grade has as much as we can give them so that they can go out into the world and be the people that we need to do what we need to do. So with that in mind, that's pretty much the end of our sessions. Do you have any questions? Comments? Kudos.
Thank you very much, and I do appreciate the thoroughness of the attachments, so I did go through them in detail. So please, if you feel like we were a little bit rushed, please know that you reviewed all the material ahead of time, for sure. I'm ready for questions, but before we do that, I'd like to open it up for public comment.
Todd Ross, your athletic director at the high school. I'm sure some of you know who I am. I just want to piggyback on what, I'm used to this, hold on. Okay. What Mrs. Dunn and these people over here are doing for our school is amazing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys being here because as a community, which we are, we don't just serve the high school, the elementary school, or the middle school. We're actually here to serve the whole community. And that being said, not only in the wellness department, but in athletics. What we do with athletics, we serve these kids as a community. We have almost like an outreach program going with these kids. We talk to them, we're there for them. We also institute plans for them to help others, like we did with the Houston Relief Fund, for instance. Ms. Good, Dr. Rubio, thanks a lot, for getting us that time to get that fundraiser, that drive, for not just our particular community, but another community outside of here, like Houston. We plan on doing some things in Santa Rosa also. I've been getting calls left and right, and I really want to help. The cross-country team stepped forward to help. In fact, it led me to try and start out a school newspaper, which Navjot over there is going to lead the way in. We've been discussing it, and we're going to do something a little different at Emory. It's good to be familiar, but different. We are our own unique community here at Emory High School. And it starts from the top. Dr. Rubio, Ms. Good, Ms. Carter, Eddie Scruggs over there, and our teachers and staff. They are really important pieces to why our kids are developing the way that they are at Emory. We are not your average high school. And that's why I actually sent my kids here. Some of my kids could have went off on scholarships. But of course, I talked to Ms. Good, and she promised that it was going to be okay. That being said, we have been reached out by different colleges for kids that are competing in athletics. So we're not just your average small school. And they're getting recognition worldwide. In fact, Todd went to Lithuania over the summer and competed in the international games, and just recently has been offered a free ride over in Australia. So, long story short, great job with the community. Let's just keep this forward progressing, going to the top. Keep it going. Okay, you guys? Adios.
Quick public comment. Renata Feinberg is Director of Operations for Lifelong, and she came by to support us, and she's been there at the top helping us to do what we need to do, so a little of.
Thank you. And thank you to the board for giving an opportunity for the clinic to present what it is that we're doing. And I just really want to appreciate Juliet and all of the staff who we've worked with in getting this clinic up and running. It's been a very fruitful partnership, and very much appreciate all of the work that you all do. And we're excited about going forward with the clinic, and especially now that we've got the dental services going for the community. I mean, I feel like a lot of what's happening there is really starting to, the services are really starting to take root. So thank you, and thank you all for being here and learning about what we do, and thanks for the opportunity.
I wanted to introduce another one of our partners who can share a little bit from her perspective. Dr. Ball is the outpatient program coordinator at Ann Martin Center, and a really essential partner that comes to some of our cost team meetings.
I don't have on high heels this morning or evening. Thank you so much for inviting me to participate. As Laura stated, I'm the outpatient program director at Ann Martin Center. Is that better? Okay, sorry about that. As Laura stated, I'm the outpatient program director at Ann Martin Center. We're a community-based mental health organization that's actually literally 2 blocks away. We have been providing services, mental health services, either psychotherapy or assessment to individuals in our community for quite a while. And it was a wonderful opportunity that we were able to be paired with the Emory schools to provide services to the students here. Oftentimes for the children that we serve, it's really difficult to get access to support for therapy or for testing. And given that this kind of sprang up, we've been able to work really closely with Laura LaPlante to help emphasize that our services are there and provide that support, but also that we have services for parents too through parent education, other professionals in the community who need to learn more about working with children in schools. We have a professional development seminar, so they have essentially created space for us to come and work with them and their students who are in need of mental health support. Thank you.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Samantha Carter, elementary school principal. You love my hand motions. Okay, so I want to say a couple of things. So when, Brother Clint? Okay, so in regards to Kevin Edwards, him and I forged a relationship when him and I both were working at the same site in Deep East Oakland off of 98th Street about 4 years ago. And I believe him and Eddie worked together as well in regards to PBIS, also in OUSD. And so we came already having a relationship. We came already trusting each other and speaking the same language. But I will say, in doing this work, you don't always find partners that really are on the same page as you in regards to really working for these kids. And I can say the people sitting to my right in regards to wellness and behavioral health, they work for our babies. They grind every day just like I do, and sometimes that is challenging to actually believe that the people you are partnered with are really in it in the same degree that you are. And I will say, in short, I believe that with every single person here. Now, when they met me, they may have thought I was a little crazy. But they have trusted my and our vision. They have been on our team, and I really cannot say enough positive things in regards to how, just really how thoughtful they are in really working for our students. So like Kevin pointed out, it has been brought up several times in regards to how we are serving our second grade students specifically. And he mentioned we have a separate meeting that we began to just talk about how are we supporting my handful of second grade babies, and specifically also providing supports to their teachers. So he doesn't have extra time. He is taking that time. Lauren is taking that time to make sure that we are truly supporting our students at the highest level. And on a semi-side note, I have to do a shout out to Brother Clint, because Brother Clint, I believe, is going to come up here and talk as well, but there is also no way that we can't informally talk about behavioral support and wellness without talking about Brother Clint. So Brother Clint is a gem that we have. Brother Clint takes his bike and the BART and bus to get here from Vallejo to make sure that we are supporting and serving these boys appropriately. So I also shout out to everyone, and we don't always get to see you, sir, and we do need to publicly acknowledge what a support you are to our campus. Thank you.
Well, I should know better than to go after Ms. Carter. So very, very, very quickly, I also want to just thank everyone in Wellness for how they serve high school. Everybody that knows me knows I'm ferociously protective of my high school students and incredibly appreciative of all the services that they receive. So I so appreciate everyone in Wellness. I so appreciate the fact that we have a center where our students can go, where they can get confidential reproductive services, where they can get an ice pack if they fall in PE, where they can just be served. And I absolutely want to second what Ms. Carter said about Brother Clint. Let it be known that Brother Clint serves from TK through grade 12. And I don't know if people know how he grinds here on a daily basis, but we just want to let it be known that in addition to all the services that Wellness brings to us, this gentleman here also brings an incredible amount in helping our young men. So I have extreme gratitude for all of you here today. Kevin W. Edwards, even though you know how I hate to fill out the cost form, I'm so appreciative of all the services that come from it. So thank you all so very much.
Not much that I can add, standing on my tippy toes, because I'm the shortest one in the crew, and the administrative crew. But again, just wanted to echo that how much we appreciate and support Brother Clint, Miss Juliet, and Kevin. We can't do the work that we do and have the successes that we've been having at this point without this incredible team.
I don't know what to say after that. It is really an honor to be a part of this grand experiment. I mean, think about this. If you had a kid, how cool would it be to put them in kindergarten and then watch them go to college? I mean, it's incredible. It doesn't happen, and it definitely doesn't happen to black kids. Nowhere. So this is an incredible opportunity that Dr. Rubio and the board has made possible for children who otherwise would not have an opportunity to experience something like this. America should be about all the kids. It shouldn't just be about some of the kids. It should be about all the kids. And can you imagine what is going to happen if you give this man an opportunity to do this dang thing and not, even a flower has to have a chance to bloom, don't it? I mean, and one of the things that the teachers are saying is that there are boys here that if we don't continue to love them in this unique way that we are, they are going to end up in the place that public school has been designed for them. Public school is designed for them to be in cages. Anybody that don't know that should not be sitting over there, should not be sitting over here. Public school is designed as a pipeline to prison. So if you don't know that, you should get into something else. This is a grand experiment. We have to work this thing until it happens, and it is happening. I have worked with John Rubio for 20-plus years, and his heart is sincere, and he makes mistakes, and then he corrects them. He makes horrendous mistakes, but then he makes really, really cool turnarounds. I mean, it's how you grow. I'm just saying, I've seen him for 20 years, and he doesn't just sit in his mistakes. He listens to people, and then he makes the change that's necessary to make things happen. So I have my Young Lions on Wednesday. If you don't believe what they're saying about our second graders, they are rascals. And if I'm saying that the boys need guidance, and they need it consistently, and they need it so that they don't take that little rascally behavior and become criminally minded or frustrated or don't get an opportunity to cash in on America's promise. Now, Donald Trump said, let's make America great again. And I was like, when was that? You know, when was America great for black people? I mean, tell me the year, and I'll look that up, because I don't remember when America was great for people of color. I'm just saying. So this school, ECCL, this is it. This is what would make America great. These children are turning, and it's not like a blue pill or a red pill. It's like potato chips on a truck scale. It's like potato chips on a truck scale, and it doesn't look like anything is happening, but you throw enough potato chips on the truck scale, and the needle will start to move. And that's what we're doing right now. So y'all need to give us a few more bags and, you know, and just let this thing happen. And I think with that, I appreciate all of my colleagues, everyone that works with me every day. I appreciate all the support that John and Miss Lisa, if Miss Lisa quits or retires, I'm out. I just need you to know that. So thank you very much for indulging me.
Are there any questions? When you get to that part.
I just want to say thank you because, you know, a lot of the focus sometimes by a few voices out in the community are not about what we're really doing, and they're not positive. They're not even helpful in terms of the feedback. And so it's great to hear all the great work and all the hard work that's going on for all of our students. And so I really appreciate everyone being here tonight. It's great to see so many faces in a board meeting and hearing some other voices. Much appreciated.
And that's our presentation, and thank you everyone who came and supported us, because it is a collegial effort. Thank you. Oh, there was a question?
Absolutely, thank you. Yes,
Oh,
now it's
sorry.
time for clarifying questions from the board. No clarifying questions? Any who want to comments? Or?
Yeah, I would also like to echo Dr. Rubio's statements and the statements made here. Thank you all so much for your hard work and for this presentation. Let us know what you're up to on a daily basis. This is one clarifying question that I do have, and you know, this does not have to be answered now, but what is it that we can do to further support you and find money for you, or you know, what do you need from us? Our doors are always open, so please don't hesitate to come to us with, you know, wish lists and wants and desires.
One of the things that this was not about asking the board to do anything for us in a way that most people talk about. This was about you understanding what we do. This is about you giving us the support with anything that you do. If you come across something, if you know something, if grant writing, we have MAW funds that are coming in that we're working with. This was about making everyone understand we are a part of this campus. We do what we do because we love these students. And every time we do something, mistake or not, success or not, we want your support, we want your acknowledgement, and we want to be in the front part of your brain when we're doing this, so that see, I got people with the ears thing anyway, but so that's what it was about more than anything else. And I do, you know, I will get back to you with some more information, and we will do this every year, because maybe it won't be as extensive because you will all be here and you will have gone through the background information. But when we come with lots of different ideas, we need your help with us working on those ideas. Like the first 2 weeks when we first started wellness, everybody stepped up to the plate, had a pancake breakfast on Saturday, and we hashed out wellness and its future with all kinds of ideas. And it was fun, it was enjoyable, it was a knockdown, drag out, but it was also at the end of it something that we all stood up and said, that was fabulous, let's do it again.
Let's do it again. That sounds great.
The only thing that I'd add is that part of this presentation is to provide you with information so that you know. This month has been my year here in Emory. The last a couple of board meetings I've been to, there have been some contentious parties. and I don't think they usually recognize the positive things that we're doing. Our hope in presenting this so that you could really see and really know and be able to speak to when those things come up, that these are the things that we're doing to support our kids, and there's a lot of good things happening in Emory, and we just want to make sure that you all knew that.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I do want to relay that we do appreciate what you do, and it is visible every day. So we're very thankful for that. I do want to thank everybody that has helped build these programs from scratch. I know there's many hands, not all of them are here, but I think it's important that you all took the time to recognize them tonight. Thank you for helping us have a full house tonight. That is great to see so many people behind these programs. Thank you. Thank you very much. I do have a couple of questions. One is, are all of your immediate wellness needs met?
Of course not. But what we're looking for right now is we're doing a lot of planning, and because this is only our second year with School-Based Health Center and with Kevin being here for a year, we're always looking for support, and we're always looking for funds. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You know, we work with MAW funds, which is Mercurial because it's Medi-Cal. We have LEA billing, which thanks to Lauren and the folks, the ophthalmologist, no, the hearing person, the nurse, and all the rest of it. But we're always looking for ways of, you know what, we need a grant writer. We need a serious grant writer for the whole school, a grant writer where they can sit down and help not only us, but the school. Because there's money out there, you got to access it. You got to take the time to look at it. You got to figure out how it's going to work. We're a tiny little school district. I love it, but we're a tiny little school district. And if we don't regionalize our support, if we don't go out there and figure out how to work with so-and-so and so-and-so, how to get in there and get those. We've written 4 Kaiser grants. We've gotten 1, which is great, but we need to do some of that because that's the kind of, we don't want to take money away from school books and teachers and salaries. We want to have our own, and we do, and we have been, and we've been working on that. But we need a grant writer, to tell you the truth. I mean, that's one of my big wishes right at the moment. Thank you.
Great. Absolutely. Thank you, please.
I just want to add, and this is by no way to present an ask to the board, but when you say are the wellness needs met, I just will say that Lifelong Medical Care sustained a deficit last year on the clinic and actually projects about a $100,000 deficit in this fiscal year for the clinic. We anticipate that by the 3rd year we'll be at a break-even state, and we're looking forward to that. But just to let you know that there's significant community contribution being made to the clinic to keep it going in this startup phase. And we understand that a clinic, whenever we start a new site, requires a startup period, but that investment is being made on behalf of Lifelong and in support of it, because it's such an important project, and we're happy to be here. But in terms of unmet need, there is that.
If I may ask a follow-up to that, are the ways to close that gap, are those mainly through funding to cover operational costs, or can those also be met simply by increasing the participation of people that come into the clinic?
The second, what you said. I mean, so we break even by we bill for our visits, and we're on a per visit basis. We do get a portion, about 20% of our budget is covered by a grant from the county, as you may know. But the way for us to break even is by being able to bill enough visits per day.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Oh.
So, yes. So that
Right.
was my other question. My question around the consent form was, how can we help ensure that we increase the number of consent forms
I
filled?
think that's something that everybody has to do, and we've been doing it. And at the parent conference week, we're going to have a table outside. We're going to do that. Every time we see parents, we will do that. Every time we see someone, if we're talking to them about, registering, we give a consent form out. It's just bringing people's awareness to the kinds of, and then letting them know what we do. The fact that we had a flu clinic, people are like, how do we do this? We had 3 consent forms signed right there and gave them the flu shot. It's continually keeping something at the top of your brain so that you know to do it each time that you have it. And that's something everybody can do.
Do the consent forms have to be re-signed every year?
No, one time,
Okay.
K through 12.
Great.
Okay? I think we... It's 27%. Yeah, and climbing, but 27%.
Thank you again. This to me, the slide was the one that caught most of my attention, this particular slide right here.
Mhm.
I am definitely interested in, personally, I think that the board should help facilitate finding funds so that we fill all the needs of our kids. And so it seems like I see some needs here that either are potentially not being met or that we would wish to meet. And so with that, I do want to sort of relay that message to John so that so that you can help us shape and potentially assign a dollar value to these, to these asks so that we know how much money we need to get for you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, John and I talk all the time, so it's cool.
We'll send you the list, Cruz.
Please. Thank you.
All right, we need to go on.
Great, thank you again. So then we'll move, this was an information-only item, so we'll move on to 6.2. John?
Yes, good evening. We have Ms. Dunn again for a quick presentation regarding school climate and parent participation. And I think Ms. Good is going to provide some information as well, if I'm not mistaken. So, Ms. Dunn, are you leading this presentation off? Or is Kevin? And this is regarding the school climate results that were done based on the self-assessment that the school district did with the high school students at grades 9 and 11 last year regarding their perceptions of the school.
While she's getting that ready, I can just share a little history that we've been administering the California Healthy Kids Survey since 2008 in the district on a 2-year cycle. And then during our move and the survey switched to an online form, we missed 1 year. And last year we did just the high school, 9th and 11th grades, because it was the first year of our school-based health center, and we have a partnership also with UCSF that hasn't been mentioned, where they help us collect data on outcomes with our health center. And so we administered it last year, and then this year we'll be administering it district-wide. And one of the measures that it looks at is called school climate. And that is basically students' perceptions of safety, adult connectedness, meaningful engagement, leadership opportunities, and such on the campus. And so it's an online survey that takes about 45 minutes, and it's via WestEd, and they calculate our results. And then those are shared publicly and compared with other districts throughout the state of California. So it looks like we're looking for our
6.2.
actual results.
No, that's just a student survey. Okay, we can talk about this. The reason that we're presenting this is because, according to the LCAP, we have to have board notification, and I guess it's approval? Of the
No,
results?
it's
Just
information
notification.
to the board.
Just information to the board. And I did not, well, what I have is the school climate report card for the high school, and it goes over the climate results for that 9th and 11th that we did last year. Overall, the students were fairly engaged. They liked the climate index. Some of the things that stuck out for me, and she's going to, and Dr. Good, excuse me, is going to talk about this, is the fact that the school is perceived to be safe, even though it says in several reports that we've heard that it isn't, that the connectedness needs to be a little bit more. But I think that that's something that, we can go through because of their extenuating circumstances. So I'm not going to go through all of it. I think the fact that we are looking at it and students feel that there's a low violence, they don't have to worry about being physically or emotionally victimized, Their harassment and bullying is very low in terms of the reaction, that they feel very good at safe at school. Some of the other things in terms of the climate survey was a snapshot of what they were feeling at the time, and they just moved back. They just gotten a new principal. There's a lot of other things that are going on, and it's been trending in different ways, but I think it gives us a nice look at where we have to go, and we can give that, and what we do with it is we give it to our partners like Newbridge, so that they can look and see what questions that the students talked about in terms of alcohol and other drugs. We give it to behavioral health so they can say, oh, this is good, we don't have to worry about this, but this seems to be something glaring that we can look at. And I prefer to, that's the reason we brought it up, so that you would know and we would have that information. But I think I want to have Kevin give some information, but I also want to have Dr. Good bring up her presentation and slide for commitment to culture, because I think she has an in-depth knowledge of just the 9th and the 11th, which is what we looked at last year. We're going to do a complete CHIC survey this year. We wanted to make sure we were in alignment with the county. The county has a new person who said it was okay for us to just do 9 and 11, which we had to breathe over because it takes a lot of time to do this. But this year we're going to do all the cohorts. So that's what we're doing.
Well, last year we did 9 and 11th because the CHICS is on a 2-year cycle, and so we were off cycle last year, but we wanted to do the health clinic, and because there's a new CHICS coordinator with the county, they said go ahead and do 9 and 11th and do the whole school this year, so that we were on the same survey cycle with the rest of the Alameda County, so that it would be easier to put our data in countywide rather than having it dribbling in. So we will be doing the 5th and 7th grade this week, and then we'll be continuing to do the high school later on in the year, so that we have all of that information in 1 year. It's very helpful, as you know, for the planning, for taking a snapshot of what our students think. So we were able to do the 9th and 11th last year, which we were very glad about. And had a good rate of response, and so we're hoping for that this year as well. Okay. That's okay. Dr. Good?
Almost. Little bit left. Okay, so hold on, I'll just pop up this slideshow real quick. Or you guys are doing it remotely?
Yeah, go. Trying to.
John, I might have missed this. Was this part of the attachments?
This one is not. This one is in your binders? This one is in your binders. Ms. Good just wrapped this up and wanted to add it to our information for tonight.
Okay, so what we're going to be talking about today is the high school's commitment to improving our school culture. When I started in April of 2016, we were, and I would actually also like to invite, when they're not eating, the student board members to add whatever they feel they would like to over the course of this presentation. I would also like to extend that to Mr. Burns, any other staff members from the Emory side. So when I started in April of 2016, our culture was very broken. We had lots of police presence on campus. The students were very unhappy. There was lots of incidents of violence. It was not the type of place where I would have wanted my child to go. And since it was not the type of place I would have wanted my child to go, it was not the type of place I would want my students to be. And so that's kind of where we started. So I'll talk to you about a few things, collecting data, how we identified the problems in our culture, the strategies that we had for improvement, our next steps, and how we aligned some of our systems. So our beginning step was shortly after I returned from maternity leave last year, I asked the teachers just to do a kind of temperature check of how we were doing with our school culture. And what we found, even though the initial intent of the meeting was to address bullying and for it to kind of be a segue to suicide prevention, we found that we had some much more serious issues that were underlying. And some of those issues really came forward in a way that was kind of shocking to a lot of us as staff members. So the first and most pressing problem that we had was our student-teacher relationships. The second was student relationships and social behaviors, and the third was instructional and curricular concerns. Just to give you a little bit of background, after we had our class meetings, the teachers sent me the notes, and then I did a quick discourse analysis. And what you see here is the rates of frequency from that discourse analysis. That's what those numbers represent. As a result of the findings, I then scheduled a meeting, a grade level meeting with the grades 9 through 12. I ran out of time before I got to the seniors, but our current 10th, 11th, and 12th graders all had a meeting. It was just me and them. There were no other adults in the room. In order to prepare for that, they had 6 representatives. 3 were from the student council, and then 3 representatives were elected from their class. And when those 6 representatives were elected, we met, and then I gave them basically a sheet. We went over the data from the class meetings, we went over the findings, and then the students were asked to talk to their peers in their class around these 4 questions that you see here. And all of these questions are basically around how we are going to improve relationships. What did teachers need to do? What did students need to do? What did I need to do as a principal? And that was what we then discussed at our class meeting. So the first thing and most important thing that came about was that we needed to strengthen student and teacher bonds. There were some other things, but that was by far the most important. So these are some of the things that students said that kind of encapsulated the whole idea of the need to strengthen student-teacher bonds. The first was just they needed a stronger bond, that they felt like the teachers weren't taking the time to get to know them, that some of the kids had negative attitudes because they felt like they were being treated negatively, and the teachers were making assumptions about the students. So from that, we took all of that data, and we also had a parent meeting, and at that parent meeting we shared out our data, and we also kind of solicited input about how they thought we could make some of the changes that were necessary in order for students to feel like they were more cared for. And what the parents suggested was an increased communication, for the parents to actually reach out and have more communication and better relationships with the teachers. And how the parents would kind of help the students to develop and foster more positive relationships with the teachers, that parents could model positive relationships, and that parents could actually be more present on campus. So as a result of all these things, as a result of the feedback that the students gave, as a result of the feedback that the parents gave, and as a result of lots and lots and lots of conversation among the staff, because it was honestly quite disconcerting when we found that our students were feeling so unsupported and so uncared for, because quite frankly, we didn't know that they felt that way. And that's why it was like, whoa, like hard stop. We need to rethink everything and how we're engaging, because what we are doing is not working. So what we decided was that it would become a focus. So on our collaboration meeting on May 30th, this was kind of how we started. This was how we were framing the conversation. Basically, that strong student-teacher relationships equal higher academic achievement and have a good positive effect on social-emotional adjustment. So we decided that day that improving student-teacher relationships would be a primary goal for the remainder of the 16-17 academic year and for the 17-18 academic year. And our opening collaboration on August 18th, these were kind of the suggestions for improvement, just kind of bundled up that the students gave us. That we needed to understand that students are not just students and they have other things going on outside, and that kind of speaks to the importance of wellness and what wellness is providing to help students cope with things that are outside of just their regular academic needs. The second is for us to show that we care about them on a daily and ongoing basis and become more involved with them. The third was to get past singular negative incidents. Like if a student had a negative run-in with a teacher one day, that it was very important that we as adults drop that situation, and so when they come back to school the next day, that's not impeding their learning or impeding the relationship being repaired and moving forward. To be more aware of conflicts both between students and teachers, for us to let students know that we're there for them, like kind of regardless of what's happening, we're there and we're always, we can always be depended upon, and to just in general be more respectful to our students as we are engaging with them on a daily basis. So as a result of that, one of the things that students asked for when we were doing our grade level meetings were one-on-one check-ins. They wanted one-on-one check-ins with their teachers in their classes, and they also wanted group check-ins. They wanted me to do more check-ins. And so what we have done is students now have a one-on-one check-in every other week in their classes, and they have a group check-in every other week in their classes. And the purpose of the check-in is not only kind of to check on the grades and all of that, because we also had some concerns about failure rate, but also just kind of give the students an opportunity to just talk to their teachers about whatever was on their mind, whatever was happening, and to have an opportunity to kind of express if they had any frustration about the class, what kinds of things they needed, all of that. It was intended to be all-encompassing and not just academic. Oh, this is the old one. Okay, so we aligned our SPSA and our WASC to this effort, and one thing that is not here, but I think it's important to note, is that we created a mission statement. And our mission statement is based around our expected school-wide learning results. That is to be positive, be productive, and be productive, and be purposeful. And our be positive is all around forming positive relationships. Anyway, so in our SPSA, our non-academic goal is basically to build improved academic and social relationships with students. And the way that we are going to measure that is through having class meetings again, doing grade level meetings again, and through the California Healthy Kids Survey that will be given this year. And it was also a major part of our WASC. We recognized that this was absolutely an area of weakness for us, and so we made it one of our major WASC goals to improve teacher and student relationships. And you can see it in multiple places through the WASC, and in these two, I just kind of pulled them out of our WASC report. These are our actual California Healthy Kids Survey results. As you can see, we have some really high highs and we have some really low lows. The really low lows are around high expectations and caring relationships, which we just kind of talked about, and also school connectedness. Our really high highs, as you can see, for similar schools, we're actually in the 99th percentile for two areas, low physical violence perpetration and low substance abuse at school. And the others in the overall low violence and substance abuse are also relatively good. They could also be 99s, but I'll take an 85 for now. So we knew, obviously, that the data that we had collected last May, we weren't surprised to see these results because we already kind of could have foreshadowed those results based on the class meetings that we had, based on the grade level meetings, and based on the actions that we had already taken. So this just kind of confirmed that we were already on the right path in what we were doing to kind of deal with some of the issues that we had in school culture. In order to deal with the school connectedness piece, one of the other asks that had come from the grade level meetings was that students wanted more clubs. And so that's what we did. So this year, we introduced robotics, construction, and engineering, La Raza, the BSU, cooking, dancing, film and video, yearbook, fitness club, art club, all in an effort to give students, and this is not including the other clubs that we already had in place, all the other athletic teams that we had in place and all of that. These are all new. And we did this one, to be responsive to what the students had requested of us, and two, to give the students an opportunity to feel more connected not only to the school but also to their teachers, because most of these clubs, all except for one, are all supervised by one of our teachers on campus. Do you guys have any questions?
I was going to ask you, you said that you reached out to parents, which I'm really happy that you did. About how many parents were you able to engage in that?
I presented this data at one of our monthly parent group meetings, and I think that was last May, so don't quote me, but I think there were probably about 8 parents there.
And did you feel that more parent involvement is also a goal to help the children feel more connected. I don't know what your plan moving forward with as far as engaging parents to help there.
Well, we have done multiple things to try to engage parents more. We have done the coffee with the principal. We still do the monthly parent meetings. We actually have an SSC that's up and rolling, which we haven't had since 2015. We now have a website that's up. We also have Facebook and we have Twitter, and we have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I would like to give a shout out to Board Member Langer, who was the first person to like and follow Emory High School. Thank you so much. So we are doing our best to put it out there. We also now use easy texting. We also use robocalls. We use constant contact to email. So we're really doing our best to put our best foot forward in trying to get parents in. But the reality of the situation is that people have to work. And when they get home, they're exhausted. And it's very difficult sometimes for parents to come, particularly if we don't have childcare available, or if we don't have this or don't have that. So we're doing our best, and we know that we can do better. And it is an area that we are focusing on, but right now, the most important thing to us is that we do better by our students.
Absolutely, thank you. We're a bit out of order, so if we conclude the presentation, I'd like to open up for public comment. Are there any public comment, please? If you could please step up to the podium.
So I just really want to commend the work that you're doing around culture at the high school. It's super inspiring. I have a question about the slide that shows the different percentile scores. And what really struck me was the low number of the low amount of violence and substance use, those two things, but then the high feeling of perceived safe, not feeling safe, the students not feeling safe. And so that kind of inconsistency is striking, and I just wondered if you might be able to say a little bit more about that. Yeah.
I think that is more around emotional safety. And I think that was a direct result of not feeling supported and not being made to feel emotionally safe by the adults on campus, myself included. So that's kind of how I read it, because we really, we don't have, a lot of violence on campus. We really are pretty safe. You don't see the police at Emory. You don't see all kinds of craziness. So, I think they really, and you can ask my student representatives, I think it is a very physically safe campus. I think where we fell down and what we're really trying to pick up now is the emotional piece.
I'm going to step in here and ask if there's any more public comment.
Yeah,
Cruz gets back.
I want to piggyback on that. I don't think it had anything to do with how safe our campus is, because everyone who approaches me about coming to Emory is always because it's a safe place for their kids to go. I think it has to do more with what's going on in the world today, the perception of things that actually happen worldwide throughout the schools, in the different areas, period. And I think that was probably something that you guys probably looked at, not at the school, but actuality of what goes on in our present condition in the United States. What do you think? I would say so.
I just wanted to say that, when I went into the 9th and 11th grade classes last year to do the Healthy Kids Survey, I was impressed with the way the teachers worked with the students in the classroom, the way that they integrated it, the way that the teachers were frequently willing to meet with me to be able to have this done. It really showed a willingness on their part to make an investment in getting some data and also creating real good relationships with students. That was evident in both Mr. Green's class. Very impressed with him. It was my first year last year. I was also very impressed with Ms. DeKoven and her relationships with students. And so, just from somebody outside coming in, I certainly see that. I was very impressed with the fact that the student meetings took place. to be able to hear student voice on a high school level. I worked 9 years as a high school administrator. I know that that's very important. I also know the challenge in high school trying to reach out to parents. And I've seen Coffee with the Parents. I've seen Ms. Good out, right out here in front with the coffee urns, working with folks. And so I think that level of effort to really have an effect on culture is very impressive. And I just wanted to acknowledge that.
I just want to say really quickly that I don't want this to be read as, oh, it was the teachers. That's not what this means. What this means is we as adults on campus, every single one of us, regardless of position, need to do a better job at building relationships with students. It is absolutely not only the teachers. It is us. It is me. It is everybody in the office. It is everybody in a classroom. It's everybody walking here on this ECCL campus. If you are in district office and you walk through and don't say hello to any students and they don't know who you are going to create a feeling of lack of safety. So I don't want anyone to hear this as, oh, the teachers weren't doing their job, the teachers weren't doing their job. No, it is that us as a collective, us as an adult collective, have to kind of pull together and figure out how we will better serve our students. And what we opted to do was listen to what they told us. And what they told us was that they wanted check-ins. They wanted to know that we cared about them. They wanted to know that we wanted to know what they were going through and how they were feeling. So that's how we as a system, that's how we as every adult on campus chose to address kind of the need. But please don't read it as, I think in the survey language was kind of all about teachers, and that was something that came up in our meetings, but I don't want it to be read as just teachers. Think of it as adults on campus, because in reality, that's what it is. It's about adults on campus.
I know this is a little out of order, but I agree wholeheartedly with what you just said, because the fact that one of my food service workers, Ms. Gracie, can know, understand, and deal with all the high school students that she deals with and find out what their grades are. Did they go to soccer practice? What do you mean you're wearing your pants this way? What do you do to your hair? That, and they come back over and over again to hear her be their champion, their mom, their person who gives a dang about, well, what's wrong with your face? What's wrong? What's going on? Okay, what's happening with you? I've seen her do it. I've seen her see and talk to people all the time. And every single one of those students comes back after they graduate to say, thank you. Thank you for helping me to think about what else I need to do. Thank you for seeing that I wasn't happy that day. Thank you for seeing that I was happy that day. Thank you for making me important. That's what we all need to do. And that's what we all need to do collectively.
Alvin Burns, computer technology teacher at the high school, and vice president of the ETA. A lot has been said tonight. I'm very tired. It's been a long day. But I just wanted to put my 2 cents in. I think what's being said in this last little bit is the visibility of all the people that are involved in educating our kids and helping our kids develop from K through 12. And I think that's it. They want to know who we are and what we're about. And I think meeting everyone and seeing everyone every day at some point, saying hello to them, how you doing, asking questions, I think that's very important. Because in the classroom, they're asking me constantly personal questions. And I think that's a sign that they want to know who we are and, who's their teacher and, what they're about. So I think that's very important. So I think also, as a superintendent, when I ask students, do they know Dr. Rubio? And a lot of students don't really know you, right? When it comes to board members, same thing. Do you know the board members? The student says, not really. I see them, but I really don't know who they are, right? So that goes the same for the elementary school and the middle school. Do the high school students know the middle school students? Do they know the elementary school students? They're big brothers and big sisters. And I think that's very important for us to come together as a family, in terms of that. So leadership, number 1, right? Communication, getting to know each other, right? And feeling like you're part of the family. All right, thank you.
Okay, so several things. So one, in regards to Friday. So Friday, the high school had homecoming. I thought I was first going to the gym with Ms. Good. Then I thought we were going to dinner. And in reality, I got coaxed happily into putting glow bracelets on high school students as they entered their homecoming dance. So I was also a chaperone. Mr. Burns was DJing it up. No offense, the music is horrible, you guys. But you looked beautiful. I mean, you were stunning. But what I will say is that it was the easiest dance I have ever been to. It was the calmest dance I have ever been to. We have the privilege to serve just happy, lovely teenagers, adolescents, young men and women here. Not only were they stunning in your off-the-shoulder and your white outfit, I pay attention to these things, but outside of that, I mean, just the behavior and the lack of incidents, when I look at this data, it was just very evident that that is the real atmosphere that is occurring, not only on the high school, but also during events. So I just felt like I really had a privilege to begin to know and create relationships with, like you said, many of the siblings of my own students, absolutely. I will also say that I am outside of my campus every day, and I do try to say good morning and welcome every high schooler as they walk and are dropping off their elementary or middle school students or siblings. And I will say yesterday I was in the gym as some of our high school athletes are practicing. I'm there with Miss Good or sometimes myself, dropping into the volleyball games, being asked to do their workouts, which I did not. I did my own workout. I did not want to do that many high knees. But again, I agree with you that we do have the beautiful experience of being one family on one campus. We have the beautiful experience of having staff members that have children on both sides. And we should know those staff members. We should know their older siblings. And I do feel like we are doing those things, both Ms. Greg Smith and myself. And the last part is that with my second graders, I have a lunch bunch every single day. They eat lunch with me. Some of my 5 or 6 second grade friends who really benefit from being with me versus the cafeteria. So every day, we used to go to my office. My office is not that big for that many friends. So I spoke with Ms. Good. Everyone's smiling because they've seen my bunch, and they love their lunch bunch. Ms. Good was welcoming to me using the high school side to have lunch with my students. He knows, everyone knows where me and my babies are every single day. And what I can say is that people like Coach T, people that volunteer, people like her security, Elliot, they say hi, they greet us every day, they ask their names. Ms. Good has met with us during Lunch Bunch, and I think that is huge because, like Brother Clint mentioned, my babies will become her babies. And I think when we talk about these data points and the statistics increasing positively, it really is about creating these bonds early on, and I really do believe that we are doing that.
Great, thank you. If there are no more public comments, do we have any clarifying questions or comments from the board?
I had a couple. So thank you very much for taking the feedback that you got and acting on it. I saw that there was also an attachment that the teachers could have been asked the same questions, but that was blank.
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with
The
what you're talking
teachers. the
I
teachers?
I can respond. The WestEd does offer, I think that's what you're referring to, WestEd offers a teacher survey as well. It offers a parent survey as well. We are going to be doing that parent survey actually starting this weekend. But I think probably you saw a place where you can compare the results to the scores of the teachers, and maybe Ms. LaPlante can shed more. But I think
Yeah, so
that's
the
fine.
CHIC survey has 3 components. It has a staff survey that addresses school climate, it has the student survey, and then it has a parent survey. And so because we only administered 9th and 11th to students last year off-cycle for the specific purpose of Module G, which is questions about the health center, we did not do that piece, but it will be part of this year where it's comprehensive.
Okay, thank you. I think that's it.
Any additional comments or?
I have a few additional comments. No questions. Feel free to sit down. Just wanted to thank Ms. Good in particular for, like Member Inch said, taking feedback from the students, listening to them, and implementing that. And I would also like to thank the students and Lisa and Dr. Rubio for, I feel like, doing a much better job over time in terms of letting us know, us board members know what kind of events are happening on campus. It took a while, I think, for all of us to get sort of integrated into the systems here and know on a daily basis what's going on. So I just want to thank the students and the administration for reaching out to us and letting us know, in advance when things are happening. I also love the websites and the Facebook pages. Those have been really helpful to let us, us know what's going on and attend more events. So thank you so much.
I do want to say that when I saw the survey results and when I saw the year they were from, Ms. Good, just like you, I was not surprised by them. I think that if anybody was surprised by those results, they're probably not close enough to the teachers and to the students and what was really happening a couple of years back here in this district. But this is why we're here. I mean, this 6-month-old board, that's what we've been working on. And that's what we've built great momentum to the start of the year. Thanks to John, thanks to our new principals, and thanks to all the teachers and everybody that sees this as a start of a turnaround for the district. So to me, it's very visible, and I think that anybody that doesn't get excited about the progress that we're making, it really wants this district to fail. But to me, it's also clear that there are more people that want this district to succeed than those that want this district to fail. So I just wanted to echo that. So thank you again. And with that, because this was an information-only item, we will move on to 6.3.
Great, thank you. And thank you again, everybody who came out tonight. We appreciate you being here. Yeah, feel free to go if you need to, or feel free to stay, please. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Ross. Bye-bye. Thank you. Item 6.3 is really meant as a preliminary first reading for the board. It's quite a bit to look at. I just wanted to get it in front of you. We will bring it back into the December meeting. We had 3 ways to go. As you may know, the federal government has made some significant changes to the way at the federal level, the way they're looking at some of these items of sexual harassment, assault, and accusations and investigations. These changes are the minimal changes that we can do right now per our attorneys to bring us up to speed with the current CSBA templates. I think, honestly, that in the spring, probably CSBA will again revamp these as they try to decipher what changes have just happened at the federal level. But in order to bring this back to you from the request from last May or June, I wanted to at least bring to you for a first reading the changes which are all from our attorneys to bring us up to speed.
Yeah, great, thank you, John. And for this, we move on to public comment straight, right?
Yes.
Does anybody have any public comment on this particular item? Seeing none, we'll move on to, I guess, clarifying questions.
I noticed under possible sexual harassment scenarios, number 11, lists sexual assault, sexual battery, or sexual coercion. And you also continue to talk about investigating harassment. I don't believe that sexual assault should be investigated by the school. And I think that needs to be clarified here, that if sexual assault is considered sexual harassment, that there's not an investigation by the school, that there's a different scenario for that.
And I'm sorry, can you, I'm trying to find out which particular policy are you looking at right now? Do you know what number, just so I can catch up with you?
Hold on. 5147.7.
Okay, thank you, one second. And it was number, what was the number you said?
Number 11, under examples, types of conduct. Yeah, there's not page numbers on here.
Yeah, I know, I'm sorry. We probably should do that to make that easy. We tried to number some of them. Number 11, and let me just go ahead and make the note for our minutes. Number 11 and 5145.7, I haven't been able to put my finger on. But you're saying you would like some expansion of the language to make it clearer that...
That makes it clear that that is not to be investigated by the school, because later in the document it talks about the investigation of a sexual harassment claim and how that would be evaluated and judged as to whether it happened. And I don't believe that sexual harassment is the same thing as sexual assault, and that should have perhaps its own steps to be taken if that's what's reported differently than a sexual harassment.
I can go ahead and refer your question to our lawyers before it comes back for a second read to see what their take on it is and for the board to decide.
Yeah, there was a couple other things,
Okay.
but I don't know if other people have comments. Further on in the document, they talk about judging whether or not a sexual harassment happened, and they talk that they would consider whether somebody had a false claim of being harassed in the past, or whether somebody had already also been accused of sexual harassment. And I don't think that that's appropriate. I don't think past cases or looking into somebody's history of reporting sexual harassment, and if it was told to be false, that should be part of a conclusion whether sexual harassment had happened on this particular occasion.
So that we can all follow, which document are you referring to and which section?
It's the same document, and it's further on.
Which section of that same document?
I think...
Well, and let me ask one other question, if I may, Member Inch. I apologize for not asking you this earlier. Do you think you're referring to the board policy or the administrative regulation? I did get the number 5145.7, but we have both the board policy and the administrative regulation. Do you know if it's the AR or the board policy?
AR.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, so which section are you referring to?
For the investigation of, I don't know, it's given a section, it's called investigation of complaint at
Great.
school.
Which section within that?
I don't know, what do you mean by section? It's
Which number?
number 7.
Within that section, thank you.
Page 7 of the AR 5145.7.
And what is the proposed change?
I don't think that they should be included.
You are recommending that we scratch off section 7 or number 7?
No, on page 7. It's on page 7, but Member Inch, I'm sorry, I lost you just for a second. Which particular number was it? I know it's page 7, I believe somebody said.
Number 11.
Number 11 on page 7? Thank you.
And then it would be item 4 and 5. Evidence of any past instances of harassment by the accused person and evidence of any past harassment complaints that were found to be untrue.
We are having difficulty identifying which section we're
I think
talking
you'll be able
about.
to find them.
Okay. And Member Inch, if you don't mind, would it be too much trouble after the board meeting later this week just to shoot us the specifics? I want to make sure we get it correct.
I can, yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. And whatever your the same specific suggestions that you have. Thanks.
Yep, no problem.
Dr. Rubio, in addition to consulting with the lawyers, I would also like to get the take of, I guess, the personnel at Emory who are involved in this sort of investigation or reporting. I'm not an expert in, sexual harassment investigations. I don't know if I would like to hear from someone maybe that is, whether those are sort of useful indicators, again, past false claims, or again, maybe those are totally inappropriate. Maybe those have no bearing on a student's current claim, but I'd like to hear from someone with a little more knowledge on that.
Okay, so it's another specific question for our attorneys on that question, it sounds like?
Yes, and again, whoever at Emory would sort of be, if there's anyone at Emory with knowledge of those topics.
Well, we're all mandated reporters, so if a student or someone goes up to a teacher or the secretary or someone else, they have to report it if there's any reasonable suspicion that something happened.
Okay.
So I think what I'll do is I'll double back with our attorneys who are working on this and get your specific answer.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Are there any additional clarifying questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, and because it's a first reading, there's no action on it. So we'll move on to number 7, future agenda items. I won't read through all of these, but if there are any additional items that you'd like to bring up?
I would. Continuing, following up with Dr. Rubio's discussion about the Santa Fe campus and lead on that campus, we did receive an email from Councilmember Bowders regarding services that could be provided to students that had been exposed, and the outreach to the parents in the community that might have been affected. I'd like to continue to reach out and make sure that they know what to do and how to get support to get tested for the lead.
So just for clarification, would you like this to be a discussion item on a future board meeting?
Yes.
And then that's up to whether or not the 3 of you want that to be on the board meeting. I just need to know if that's something the 3 of you, since there's only 3 of you tonight, is it something the 3 of you would like to be? And I just one clarifying question. Well, I guess remember, I'm just trying to make sure I'm catching what you're saying. Because I assume, I think correctly, that it sounds like you're saying that a discussion at a board meeting will help with the information out to the community. Is that correct?
Correct. And
Okay.
also, I believe you'll probably have results and some more information at that time as well.
Okay.
And just the ability, you've reached out, people can ask questions if they receive this letter and don't know what to do, or if you get some information in the mail or an email and you don't know, who to ask further questions and clarify.
Okay.
Does that letter include who to call?
It does include who to call our offices, and has a direct line. It's up to the 3 of you. Would you like this to come to a future board meeting or not? We are doing our due diligence, as Member Inch referenced. We're U.S. mailing and emailing every piece of contact information we have to any student who was on the campus between 2012 and the end of 2016. Those letters go out in the mail tomorrow. The emails went out this evening already. So, but if the board would like, we can have it as a discussion item at a board meeting. If you believe it's fruitful to give that as another opportunity for people to come and ask questions or get information.
I would prefer just to have an update from you, Dr. Rubio, in your superintendent's report. I don't. To me, it doesn't seem like there's much more to discuss in terms of, I would like an update, but I don't know that we need a discussion about the item.
I echo that. I appreciate the update tonight, and I think that for the time being, I think that would be the best format to go about that. If, of course, we find something that is a bit more concerning, I guess, then I would suggest that then we would change the format of that. So for the time being, I'm content with it being part of the superintendent update.
Okay. If I find anything critical, I will alert the board right away so that we have the opportunity to change that.
I would still also like to be included on the actual letter that is being sent out.
Sure, I'll make sure you get a copy tonight.
Okay.
Are there any additional future agenda items that you'd like to add?
There's some, I sense after some chewing that there's going to be something from Member Ball. No, please. No. You sure? You change your mind, will you stop by and just come by my office and talk to them?
Actually, yeah, it was kind of just like a student concern. Like usually, mostly in like the high school, a lot of the kids are complaining about the school lunches. But sometimes it's just like, for example, I eat the vegetarian lunch, and majority of the time I only get like a grilled cheese sandwich, even though the menu doesn't reflect that. So that's just kind of been a concern of a lot of students that's kind of risen up. Like majority of the time we're supposed to get like cheese ravioli, but we've only gotten cheese ravioli twice since we've been here.
And so I just want to make sure I've got it correctly. So it sounds like what's on the menu or supposed to be on the menu is not really happening all the time?
Yeah, especially for the vegetarian options.
Okay. What I'll do is, Ms. Tamery, I'll get your help to help make sure I reach out to Ms. Dunn, has already left for the evening, but I'll see what I can find out and I'll get back to both of you.
Great, thank you. Less of an agenda item, but more of a note that I received from one of the parents I spoke to. They were wondering about the educational field trips. They're asking about whether there's a potential calendar, or if not, what to do about, or if we're not having educational field trips, what do we need to make those happen? So they were asking about, were there any field trips, educational field trips happening? If so, or if not, can we do more? That was just a general question. It's not really a future agenda item. It's more of a note for.
Would you like the principals to respond? Because we have a lot of field trips happening pretty often. Very
Great.
often.
So then maybe it's just a matter of getting the word out, and I think Facebook would be a great way of, and all the social media, website and all this media. That would be great. Sounds like a great opportunity to.
And I think they might be on the public calendar for the school. They may. I think Annie Yates right now is publicizing them. So I believe they're actually on the calendar.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can we take more educational field trips?
Okay.
And I know Ms. Good, I will add this, Member Vargas, I know Ms. Good is dying to come back in December and present on the college tours. Thank you, Ms. Good, we're so excited.
Yes, we're so
and
excited.
I'm sure Members Solis and Baal are going to help find some more students to come with Ms. Good to talk about the college tours. Yeah.
Awesome.
I have.
Yes,
I have.
She's following the high school.
Yes, I have.
We're still looking
And
forward
it's
to
awesome.
Yeah, oh, that's great.
Follow us back. That's all.
And we're looking forward to your December presentation, Ms. Good. Thank you.
You should get like the students to do it.
We would love a separate presentation later on about the.
I think you just signed up too, Ms. Good. I know the board is interested in an update, Ms. Good.
Even if it's just a calendar view, single slide, be happy with that.
Update, quick update, Ms. Good.
Quick
Absolutely.
update.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Awesome. Great.
Nice try, though. It was a good try.
We'll move on to number 8, board reports and announcements. Seeing none, I'll just add that I did. Please, Ms. Good. Yeah.
Oh, you want to go to?
On this, we are having our annual art and music showcase at the Cliff Bar from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m., and you are all invited to attend.
What night of the week is that, Ms. Good? Do you happen to know?
Tuesday.
All right, Ms. Good. Thank you.
I'm going to be playing the clarinet.
You are all right. All right.
Art and, can you tell me again what it's called? Art and Music Showcase?
I'm sure we'll see it on Facebook as a
Yes.
sponsored,
Yes.
as a sponsored post.
Yeah.
Great, awesome. The only thing that I do want to add is that we volunteered, I think I might have mentioned this already, we volunteered the Harvest Festival for both the school one during the week and then the one for the city during a Saturday. And I saw a lot of good things in both. It seemed to me like a great opportunity for us to think about holding possibly a single event. I saw a lot of kids in our Harvest Festival, a lot of people wanting to do good things, and I saw a lot of activities in the city one, but definitely not enough kids. So I think that we would all benefit as a community if we thought of ways to hold hands and do things together. So that's the only thing that I do want to report on. And then we'll move on to number 9, calendar review. There's no school November 10th in observance of Veterans Day, nor school the week of November 20th for Thanksgiving. The next Board of Trustees meeting is on December 13th at 5:30 p.m.
And there's one other item I'd like to announce that just was created in the last 48 hours, actually related to your last comment about kids and parents or guardians doing things together. I'm happy to announce and excited to announce that on Wednesday evening, December the 6th at 6 p.m., we are going to have a family hour of code where we're going to ask parents and guardians to come join their children at 6 p.m. if they like. And we have some high school students who are here who are looking for community hours who might be interested in helping. Hint, hint. But we actually are designing an event, Member Cruz, I'd like to make sure it's on everybody's calendar for Wednesday, December the 6th at 6 p.m. In Building A, I believe, called Family Hour of Code to celebrate during the week of code that is happening, where we're also working with all of our students, I believe at most grade levels, doing coding in the classrooms.
Looking forward to seeing all that in social media.
Okay, a couple more ads before we finish. Board Member Cruz had brought up the Harvest Festival. So we actually have already had this discussion, one with the city. So we meet every other week with the city to discuss our partnership, and they would like for there to be only one event. And then today at my staff meeting, I did have that discussion with my staff as well. And it appears that in the past, that is what the case was that it was one event. So I do think that there will have to be some logistics that are worked out, but it definitely is something that is on our radar in regards to, instead of having 2 separate events and 2 separate entities working very hard, having one event. So it definitely is on our radar for next year. Another piece, yes, we are having a family hour of code. Please come have dinner with us. We also, a couple things. So ice cream social every month. This month it is on the 17th, which is next week, I believe, right? So next Friday, my mind may be a little blurry, but it is next Friday since we have Thanksgiving off. And then the last day of the month is a Thursday. So any board members or anyone that would like to come join us, please do so. If it is super cold, we won't be outside, we will be in here. And then also today I was able to meet with my music teacher, Mr. Andrew Ting, and we will be having a winter performance, which I believe occurred last year. Last year it only serviced a few grades versus this year. Because he does serve students starting at the kinder level, we will have that reflected in the winter program. So I believe it is December 14th, also at 6 o'clock here in Building C. We will be having a winter performance, grades K through 6. So please join us then if you're free as well.
All right. Can you tell us what time the ice cream social is and the typical location?
Yeah. So ice cream social is 1 o'clock. It is always the last Friday of the month. So typically, Ms. Greg Smith and I both have an assembly that day at various times. She ends up having students of the month. I have students of the week. And then on that same day at 1 o'clock, out here normally in the Walhalla area, do we have ice cream social. So if it is cold, we will come in here and have it in here, but it will still be at 1 o'clock for about 20 to 30 minutes.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Great, thank you. So then now we'll move on to closed session. It's a conference. John, do I need to read out what the?
Oh, if you
11.1?
would, please, just what we're going to be discussing.
Awesome. It's a
Thank you.
conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D4. The board will meet in closed session to discuss significant exposure to litigation in one case.
Great. Thank you.